So today's job has been pruning the Corylus avellana contorta. It's not an easy task. Oh, bear with me. Camera's going mad. Still getting used to this. Not an easy task, but one that if you've got one of these, I highly recommend that you do. If you don't, you'll end up with just one mass of rubbish in between it. Now, the idea of Corylus avellana contorta is that it grows these type of things. Now, it's commonly known as Harry Lauder's walking stick. I think he was a comedian back in the early 1900s. Not sure, but I think that's what he did. So that's what it's famed for this look. And even more so, it's famed for this. The camera performs for me. This is the look that you're looking for. Now this, I was quite fortunate when I came here because I inherited quite a good tree. It was already there. The bottom section there, that bottom section is kind of the rootstock. It's stocked onto that and it produces straight sticks from that, shall we say. Now, you can use those as, in fact, you can use the whole thing as twiggy pea sticks, which people do. I tend not to collect these things. I don't want them. I've no use for them. Anything I need to grow up an arbour or anything, I've already got those, so I don't need to worry. What I'm growing this for is this shape. So it was already a good looking shape when we got here, except it needed a lot of work doing on it, as in the straight sticks were coming from the base. And I clipped those out and they were a good 12 foot. In fact, they were as tall as the tree itself. They went straight through and up through the top. So they were probably 15 foot. So I got rid of those, which has made hell of a difference at the beginning. And then I've gradually just worked on it and just nibbled bits off and exposed the trunk. Well, initially I exposed this bit here, this big bit at the bottom. And it was quite a surprise for even myself to find such a nice looking gnarled trunk. Because this is one of the reasons you grow it. And I think this has got a place in any garden, to be honest with you. It's just a stunning small tree, large shrub, call it what you will, where it has this lovely finish on it. Now, I get pigeons nesting in this. Let's see if we can see. There we go. Bear with me. There you go. Look, there's a pigeon nest. Now, I've had probably last year alone, probably 4 sets of pigeons bringing the young off on this one, which is really good. And then I had a collared dove. I mean, they were just the ordinary stock pigeons, the big fat ones. And then we had a collared dove set up a family in here. And I think that got 2 sets of squabs off. So it was providing a home for all these sort of things. Now, in the winter silhouette, if you're looking for sort of a winter garden, then this is one tree that you should consider getting because it's of this shape, basically. Now, it did originally, but just before I should really have taken a video before I started of what I was about to do, because it did. It came right down to here, and it formed a lovely tree shape. It was lovely, and I could have kept it. And had I been a kind of an amateur at this, I probably would have kept that, and I left it as it is. But I didn't want that. I wanted this. So I wanted this shape and this silhouette that I know is there. And what was happening was it was getting congested within itself. So I don't think I can show many. Yeah, if we look directly up to it, you can see it's so congested up there, but that's fine. I'm happy with that. That'll be all right. We're not worried too much about that yet. But I didn't want it down here. Now you can see all these little bits I've cut off. Most of these I've had to do with a hand saw, with a proper pruning saw, and I've only got a little tiny pruning saw at the moment. I've got like a little battery operated one that cuts through these in no time at all, but sod's law, battery was flat, so I've been charging it. I managed to get one of the big sections off with it before it finally gave up the ghost, And that was this section here. Now, you've got to be very careful when you start pruning things like this, because what you don't want to shock the tree. But I'm fairly confident. I've done these things many times. I've never had one this large before. I've never been in a house or a garden long enough to appreciate what I've planted. But in this case, it was already here. So it's probably at its ultimate height now, which I would say is 12 foot. They probably generally make 12 by 10 foot wide, 12 foot high, 10 foot wide. And they shouldn't do much more than that. But the one thing that you've got to be concerned with is how congested it becomes in the middle. And if you're not careful, it does become very congested. Now, just to show you how congested this thing had become, I'm going to show you what we've took off it. Here we go. We've took all this off. This pile here, quite a lot. And then this section here, quite a lot on that as well. So that's a hell of a lot to take out, but only about a third. Maybe a little bit more than a third, but I can't see it being much more than that I've actually taken off. But it looks 100% better. Let's take this laddo out the way. Laddo? What's a laddo? Plenty of laddos around here. Let's take this ladder out of the way. Oop, bit noisy. I'll show you what it looks like. Not easy doing two jobs at once. Yeah. All right, okay, so there you go. See the shack behind it? Now that's going to come into full leaf within the next month and a half, 2 months, well, 2 months maybe. It'll start coming into leaf, and then by summer it'll be full leaf. But what it does have, pretty much like birch, see if we can focus in on that. You can see these little catkins. Oh, I'm on the wrong bit, there you go. Them little catkins are developing now. Can't really focus, see if we can focus on that. Yeah, no, it's not going to do it. Let's focus back out. Anyway, so it produces those catkins, and it's got hundreds on it. They're all over. Ah, it won't focus. Never mind. Try again. Nope, not having it. Not having it at all. So it produces those, and they will get to probably 2 or 3 inches by the time it's finished. They'll drop right down. Below it, they'll drop right down, and they'll have these big yellow catkin looking things, and they are quite stunning actually. And I've missed a trick this year because I've taken off so much, but it had to be done. You can see all the catkins on here, they're all about to come down, drop down and produce the flowers. But there had to be a sacrifice somewhere along the line, and that was the sacrifice I was prepared to make, just to get the beauty of the tree back. It had become way too congested. But it's looking fantastic at the moment. I love it. The common name for this is the filbert. It is a hazelnut, is the other common name, but a lot of people will know this as the filbert. There's also a purple form of it. That's the purple filbert. And this is the green filbert. I bought a purple one to actually come into this garden, and as of yet, I've not fully decided where I want it. It's actually been planted once, but I didn't like it, so I moved it, as you do. And that will be another complementary tree to go in the garden, and it should look good. Now, if you've got one of these and you've got a shrub and you've bought one, you'll generally get them at about 2 foot, 3 foot from the garden centres. They'll have maybe 2 or 3 stems that are curly. Don't forget the root stocked, so you must bear that in mind when you plant it. Let's take you down to the root stock. There we go. You can see what I've had to chop off at the bases of this because they'd produced great big straight sticks that are no good to man the beast. But this is what you're after now. What you must bear in mind, if you've got a shrub and you don't want it to get too big, because obviously this is a shrub to start with, then what you must do is all the small ones, so these things here would be really small, you'd skinny little sticks, and if you've got, say, 5 in your first year and you put it in, leave it alone for to be honest, leave it alone in the first year, maybe even into the second year, let it settle in. And then if you want to prune it, because you don't want it to get too big, what you must do is you must remove at least a third. So if there's 5 on there, remove 2 of them. Remove 2 of those sticks, those curly sticks, back. And obviously dress it properly. Make it look good. You don't want it to look rubbish. You don't want to take out the wrong bits. But by removing them, you're going to start keeping it small. Now, you can take off the tips and you can stop it growing that way, but you must be very careful. Now, I've not done myself a favour here at the moment, because I've done this when in winter. And the reason I've done it in winter, because I knew I was going to do quite a severe pruning. And what it's going to do is it's going to partially shock it. This tree will be okay, it'll be fine. Like I say, I've taken just over a third off, and it should be okay at that. Shouldn't cause it any problems. But you must be very careful when you prune your shrubs, because if you're going to prune your shrubs, this is January, mid-January, is a good time to do any shrub really. But when you're doing some major pruning, then you've got to be careful. Don't be going into spring and summer and all that, because you will do some serious damage to it, and you may even kill it, you may even shock it. But I've done this at a good time. Now, just as a general rule of thumb, if you're pruning at this time of year, you must expect a rapid growth on all the new branches that it's going to send up. It will send up what we all call water shoots. Most people will know them as straight shoots, but it will absolutely erupt with different little branches all over the place, which in this case I shall not I shall not be bothered that it's doing that. I shall want it to do that, because I'll be messing about with this until I curl my toes up at this place. I'll be altering it year on year. But so that's fine. But if you do a summer pruning on your shrubs, that will stop. There'll be no regrowth from that. So if you go into the middle of summer and you do a bit of sort of little, not too much pruning, but a little bit of pruning on any shrub, it will stop it from, it won't go mad from that. So it won't be sending up new shoots at that time of year. Because what we do is, if we want to stop it growing, we do it in the summer. But if we want it to sort of like grow more branches, we tend to do it in winter, because we know once summer comes, spring comes, it suddenly decides it's been attacked by some crazy woodman who's wanted to murder it, and it's thinking, right, I've got to reproduce lots of new branches, and that's exactly what it'll do. And I'm expecting this to do it, and I am expecting it to do it in sections like this. I'm expecting it to come from here. Now, what you must do on these anyway, on any shrub, when you take it out, see if we can focus in on that. Oh, that's already gone. Let's see if we can find another good one. No, there's no real good ones, but let's. Oh, this is a live one. Now, if you've got something like this branch, try not to clip it off. Try to rip it off. So I've done that there. It's not focusing. Oh, damn. It's not focusing very well, but try to rip it off. Now, I'm going to try and focus in on that. Not having it. No, not having it. Right, don't worry about it. So what you must do is you must rub away the growing eye. It'll have like a little eye growing in there, and it'll want to grow in. It'll want that to become its new growing bit. So when you pull that little branch off, you must also rub it and remove the growing eye. Look, there's a little bit there. In fact, I've just exposed it now, so that just proves what I've just said. It'll try and produce that growing eye. So remove those as best you can. Don't worry too much, because you should be really attacking these several times in the year, which would make a difference. So yeah, so I think it looks really good. Now, it does form part of a sort of a tunnel system. When it comes into leaf again, you walk down the side here and you'll walk under it. Now, for the last 2 years, I've had to dip my head when I've been cutting the lawn here, which, you know, is not a good thing. And once spring comes and the leaves start coming out on it, I'm gonna have a look at it again, and I shall have another little prune up. We'll see what to do with it. With the stuff I've taken off, it's not wasted. There are some very, very interesting shapes on some of this, some big chunks, in particular the big section that I took off. This one here we go, look at that. It's a dream, innit? So that's so contorted, but with a good thickness on it, that I'll be able to do something with that. Don't know what, I'll probably cut it into little sections and stack them on top of one another. But whatever I do, I'm probably going to move it over to the, down there to that back corner, put a lot of these twigs down there, and we'll use it for now until it finally rots away, and we'll use it for wildlife and let them have a little scrummage in there and do what they need to do. So it shouldn't be a problem. So let's end it on a nice shot. It's looking good. I love it. It's a good little tree. if that's what you're looking for, don't forget, large shrubs can be made to look like little trees. And in this case, this is the perfect one for it. I don't know if you've listened to my podcast yet. I go on a bit more than I'm going on here, but I've got a podcast. Search on all the platforms for Up at Grassy Bottom. You'll find me. Also, Instagram and Facebook. Look at Up at Grassy Bottom or gardenersjourney.1. You'll find me on there. And I've got loads of tips for other different bits and bobs. Now, I'm quite aware at the moment most of the stuff on there is all to do with winter. I've only just started it, so that's what you're getting to see. But as spring comes and into summer, you'll see massive changes in this garden. You'll not believe that this shot here will be the same shot. In fact, I'll try and come in here in summer and do another shot from here, and it just will not look anything like that. So thank you for looking, and don't forget to give to subscribe to me on YouTube. Doesn't cost out, just press the button and give us a follow. Thanks for looking. Ta-da.